Hello, this is National Chess Master RRats at chess.com, continuing my video series on the correspondence team match played between my video lessons group and the team CARPE DIEM. 210 boards. This was played down on board 209. We had a substantial rating advantage, mid 1500s versus high 1100s. Our man is nmegally, and I'm going to have to say you could have lost both these games. Yoda 963, you missed your chances here, and I'll show you. Let's have a look at the two games. Okay, here's an odd move, d5. There's no need to move the pawn a second time, but it pretty much gets your opponent out of book. Now here's another odd move, h4. Now we're definitely out of book, so it's a matter of using your wits. Now here I think black makes a mistake with d6. The reason I'm saying this is, why restrict your bishop when your bishop has a good diagonal? When black pushed d5, he gave c5 to you. It's perfectly fine to put your bishop on c5 here, and you got a very nice diagonal, and you're the only one with a piece developed. White's just been moving pawns. But anyway, let's move forward. Now, here's one drawback of h4. This gives black the chance to park a minor piece on g4. So white counters, and he pushes him back. And I don't really think there's any advantage to be had by taking this knight and giving white double pawns, so black continues his development. And little by little, both sides are getting their pieces out. They have three minor pieces each developed. But white's looking to grab some space here, and that's what he does. And now black's kind of cramped, so having a bishop on c5 might have not been a bad idea after all. Look at that poor bishop on f8. It can't even move. White's doing okay here. Now here, I don't quite understand b4. Anytime you move pawns, you're weakening squares, although this sets a future trap, so to speak, that white may have not realized he'd set up, because it weakens the square c3. I guess white's playing this to keep the black knight out of c5. That's what, but I don't know exactly. But what happens here is black immediately blunders into a lost game, and white doesn't take advantage of it. I mean, maybe he feels his game is cramped and he has to do something, but you know, you can maybe play, well, c6, and if pawn takes, this knight will take, and you know, work your way out of it. But white jettisons a piece here, and all black has to do is just simply take this knight, and if white takes that knight, white has a winning game. Black is down a piece without any compensation, but white doesn't take the knight. So that's not the only win he misses, as we will see. So he doesn't take the knight. He backs his bishop up to protect the knight, and let's move forward. Now black's starting to get his pieces out. Black's still a little cramped. But he's had a pawn. You know, white's jettisoned a pawn here, but still, black has to prove that he can win this game. And here, white jettisons another pawn, so you have to like black here simply because he's collecting pawns, but his game is still somewhat cramped. And there goes another pawn, so black is now 3 pawns up and should be winning, but it's not going to stay like this forever. Now, I'm not sure about the c5 break. It might have been better to try to play a d5, get a d5 break prepared. That can be done. The bishop can come to f7. The queen can go to d7. A rook can swing over to d8. But c5 just creates a hole on d5. And now white's looking to try to administer a quick checkmate. But black stops that. And here, black jettisons a pawn. He was 3 pawns up. He gives one back. He can afford to do that, but you got to be careful. You can't keep giving pawns away. And one problem piece for black remains this dark squared bishop, which I'd suggested putting on c5 way back when. Okay, so black finally gets his queen off the back rank. Now his rooks are connected. White hasn't been using his rooks either, and we're at move 25. There, black gets a rook into play. And now white comes up with king f2. His idea here is to try to attack the black king. And here I was talking about white setting up a trap they may not have realized. Here's the trap. Most people would guard the first thing you'd look at is guarding your bishop, but black lets it, or white lets it go. And you got to be careful in a position like this. I don't know how much time black was taking on his moves, but the move he played should have given him a lost game. Black bit the bit and took the weakness on c3 with his rook, and white can now win. It's forced. Okay, pause the video, see if you can find it. Okay, you've resumed. The winning move is rook h7. This threatens a mate in 1. Okay, how are you going to guard that? Well, you can guard it with rook f7, or you can guard it by retreating your bishop. That's pretty much the only way. But what happened after rook h7? White plays his queen to h5, and I do believe black gets checkmated here. What can he do? He can throw this rook away, get a couple of spite checks with this rook, but when it's all over and done with, you're running out of checks. The threat of rook h8 mate is too deadly. Moving the rook doesn't create a flight square. Moving the pawn, that doesn't work. You just check the king up and checkmate him. You have a choice, h7 or h6. So that's so much for rook f7. What about the other choice, moving the bishop back? Well, it's pretty much the same thing. The queen just comes back to h5, and this mate threat is too serious. Rook e8 doesn't work. Rook h8 is immediately mate. So all black can do is go for a couple spy checks, and he's going to get checkmated. So white didn't see this, didn't analyze the game. Had he analyzed it, he may have found it. Maybe he did analyze it and just didn't see it. Well, look at all active moves. The check is fine, except that the black king is going to try to find a way to run out of here, and that's what he ends up doing. Now he goes ahead and takes this, and one thing is now black is ahead of piece, and the white attack is running out. And here goes the king. He's off and running, and white does his best to create some threats here. But now black forces the queens off the board, and no need to take. It's pinned. It won't go away. So white decides to take. But unfortunately now white's down a piece and a couple of pawns or so, maybe 3 pawns, and his attack is over. So it's just a matter of mop-up time for black, and the game is going to end quickly. Here's a discovered check, picking up a rook, and now it's just going to end quickly here. There goes the other rook, and why not? Why not give it up? You don't need it. King d7, and white decides to resign. He's down a rook, knight, and bishop, and a2 is going to fall, and this pawn will promote. Okay, let's bring up the other game. And what move will it start it at? We always wonder. It's random. Start it at move 1, please. Nope, look at that. Okay, so as I said, Yoda could have won both games. Let's see how this one turns out. So this is similar in a way to last game, slightly. The only difference is, white's putting a pawn on e5, or I think white was putting a pawn on d5 in that one. But anyway, they develop their pieces, and look at the horrible move black plays, h6. I've been criticizing this move, and this is probably the 15th or 20th video. There's no need for this move. It weakens your king side. White's not planning to stick anything there, and if he can stick anything there, it's not going to do anything, okay? You're weakening your position, and you're not developing anything. But it seems it'll work out for black. He gets a solid game. Here's white playing a3, although I guess he's trying to play b4. And, the game is relatively even. There's not much going on here. And all of a sudden, okay, some tactics start to fly. Both sides are attacking a knight. Okay, what do you do in a case like this? Well, it's desperado time. Well, first, white decides to grab this knight, but then black gets a fork. So now white has 4 minor pieces, 3 of which are under attack. So, oops. So black is going to get his piece back. It's just a question of how. Okay, so knight takes, and the problem with what white has just done, though, is white's going to go down 2 minor pieces for the rook. What white could have played and should have played, let's back this up. Let's see. This bishop is trapped. White has all kind of move at his disposal. Let's see. Bishop f3 is one. Knight back here is one. And there'll be some attacking chances against the black king once black takes here. But there's all kinds of possible moves. But white's going to go down 2 pieces for the rook here. Let's see how it goes. And now maybe better would have been to play queen g5 and whoops, no, wait a minute, I'm looking at the board wrong. Queen can't go to g5. Okay, apologies. I thought this was a queen. Okay, knight f3, and now the knight comes back to h4. But black is doing okay here. White's black is up a piece. Okay, the way it's played, black is ahead a piece, and he could have been ahead a piece last game. Now he could have been a piece ahead here. So white's desperately trying to find some action here. The only thing white has going is the black king is a little potentially weak, and there goes some pawns. And black did get some play. He was threatening a mate. But here, black goes wrong. All black needs to do is just simply collect this pawn right here. It's a free pawn. Black now has what? 5 pawns. White has 7. White doesn't have enough pawns for the piece. And in the long run, the extra piece is going to tell. Instead, what black does is black weakens his king side and starts running into a disaster. But then white will in turn misplay this disaster, as we will see. So white kept giving black chances to get back in. Now with a threat of mate, and black has to jettison the exchange. But black still has 2 minor pieces for the rook. Count the pieces. White has 2 rooks, a queen, and a knight. That's 4. Black has 3 minor pieces, a queen, and a rook. That's 5. Black has an extra piece. So when you have 2 pieces for the rook, you do have an extra piece. White has some pawns for it, but black's alive here. And white misses a very strong continuation here in just a moment. Now he takes e5 too late. But here, all white has to do is play rook ae1. And it's curtains, okay? Or I guess you check first. You could then play rook ae1. Yeah, let's do it this way. Where does the black queen go? Let's just pick a square. Let's put it on d6. Well, here comes knight takes e6 check, and you get to give up your queen. So it seems to me like this queen is going to have to go. You might as well just take this now. But now, let's see. White has the advantage of a queen for 2 bishops, queen and some pawns for 2 bishops. And the attack is still on. So black definitely misfired here. But white didn't take advantage. White put the knight back here. And black's alive and kicking. And off come the queens. And, black's not doing too bad here. He's if he can consolidate his position, he could probably end up playing this for a win. Because 2 minor pieces are better than a rook. The objective is go win a pawn, then go win another pawn, then create a pass pawn, then advance the pass pawn up the board and make your opponent give something up for it. But that's a long way off, and he does have to recover from a couple pawn deficit. But black should not be losing this game, but he's going to end up losing it, as we already know. And black's still alive and kicking, but here he needs to play e5. e5 is a safe and solid move. It restrains this pawn on f3, and this knight can do some fancy maneuvering. It can probably sink itself in on e3. Just go back to e7, d5, and then plunk it in on e3. And black will be doing very well here and should not lose the game. But instead, he puts the knight here and gives white a chance to open up the game a little bit. And now, if anything, white can just take this and go into a rook ending. But his advantage wouldn't be quite so strong here. Black will have some counterplay, but still white would be better off. But white finds a nice continuation. He just stops and grabs this pawn, and the threat of taking here followed by taking here are just overwhelming. And white also has a serious threat if black blunders, which black did. Black played knight e5, and now white has two mates in one. One is h4 mate, and the one that was actually played, rook f5 mate. So let's just back it up slightly. Let's come back to my suggestion of e5. Okay, what's white going to do here? He's going to have to get his rooks in the game because they're not. So the only way to do that is to play h4. So let's see. Should black take or just redeploy his knight? Let's redeploy the knight. Well, let's see. Let's do this. Let's swing our rook over here first so that if the file opens up, we're on it. Okay. Now let's see. Suppose white opposes the file. Okay, white's getting on the file. Do I want to take? Now, I haven't got my maneuver with my knight yet that I've been talking about. Let's see. Let's try. Well, rook h7, king f6. The rook's kind of stalemated here. Let's see. So I'm trying to get this knight into e3. Now let's see. Maybe white needs to think about getting a pass pawn. I don't know if this is forced. I'm just kind of playing around a little bit. But let's go bother this this pawn. Okay, white needs to get a pass pawn. Let's get. Well, that's not going to get him a pass pawn. He'll lose a pawn. Let's see. Attack this. Oh, look, we're going to win this pawn. Now the problem is c2 is about to fall. I'm pretty sure black's still holding on here. Can't say white will win this, but let's see. Yeah, let's go attack this. Yeah, maybe I've misplayed this for black. Yeah, definitely I've misplayed this for black. But h4, if h4 is probably a good move. Trying to open up the file. Maybe black should keep his rook on the board. Not rather than trade it off. So h4. Let's follow through with my idea here. Now get on the file. But you see black is ready. Ready to rumble, so to speak. He's threatening knight e3. Okay, we'll give a check. And double rooks just because we can. And now maybe we're not going to use e3. Maybe we'll use f4. That takes h5 from white. Let's see. Although white can pick up a pawn here. Let's see. The king's a little precarious, but the knight is keeping him safe. Swing over here. You know, just a preliminary look at this thing. Can't say black's winning, but it's kind of hard to prove a white. It's kind of hard to prove a white win here. But e5 would have been better than knight e5 because that allowed white to get pawn f4 in. Anyway, there's always something to look at in a chess game. You just start moving the pieces, and if something doesn't work, you back it up, you try to find a better move. And the more you look, the more different positions you see, the better your analytical skills get. And I can't promise these are the best lines. Are these the lines you would play? or your opponent would cooperate, well, one way to look at it is if you're exhaustive and you find what you think is his best move and he doesn't play it, either one thing, either you've overlooked something and he has better, or he's played worse and you can now find a way to take advantage of it. So, like I say, the more you analyze, the better you're going to do. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.